Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. It's Mary Alice. Welcome in, come on in, get settled in, get comfortable. I'm going to give just another couple minutes here for everyone to come in and find their seats, find their spots. So welcome to you today, wherever you are. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, I'm Mary Alice. This is Mindful Minutes. Welcome. I'd like to invite you in today to come and settle in and spend a few minutes with us to kind of reconnect our bodies and minds and spirits, sort of bring everything back into center, pull our own selves in a little bit closer to our core here this morning. I'm giving you permission to lock that door, to tune out the outside world, and to take a few minutes just for you right now. Because you are important and an integral part of this world, of your family, of the big hub that keeps us all turning. We're all spokes in the wheel. So coming on in, finding a nice comfortable seat. I'm going to start kind of just freeing up our breath and sort of starting to bring that awareness back in a little closer. So as you come in and get comfortable, you can do this first meditation lying down, sitting up, and don't let the word meditation intimidate you, because we're just going to be closing our eyes and just spending a little time inward. If any distractions come up, that inner voice starts chirping at you about what you should be doing or could be doing with your time that might be more purposeful from the Western world's perspective. Just pull away from that judgment and come back. Come back to your breath. Come back to you. So coming now back in a little closer. And just have you get comfortable in your body. Sitting up nice and tall if you are. Seated, we don't want to completely roll over and hunch into ourselves. We want to allow our breath, the room to move. So with that in mind, either laying back in a supine position where your spine can be nice and long, or seated up. You can put a cushion underneath you or in a chair is fine. And now closing those eyes without doing anything at all. Let's just start to breathe. And as you breathe, again, just bring your awareness to your breath and notice what kind of breath you are breathing. Is it a shallow breath? Are you holding your breath? Are you tense? So again, just with those eyes closed, just noticing what kind of breath am I breathing? Just in my body here this morning. And now as we start to bring that focus inward, I'll ask you to breathe fully, emptying out completely. I don't mean taking a huge gasp of air, filling as much as you can, but maybe the in-breath comes the same as it normally would. And on your exhale, fully empty that breath out all the way, every last drop. Squeeze it out. And then on your inhale, notice the breath just slips back in if we allow it. Let's focus on that breath for the next couple moments here. Sitting or laying where you are. Inner judgments or inner conversations come in. Simply notice them and let them go back out. Inhale, come, and exhale fully. After a few rounds of breath like this, I invite you to bring this breath now, using it like a magic wand. And scan over your body with your breath now. So breathe in. Maybe your focus comes to the first bit of tension around your brows or your temples. Those tiny muscles around your eyes that work so hard for us every day, focusing, taking in all those bits of information. Smile to your eyes. Thank you, eyes, for allowing us to see all the beauty in this world, for allowing me to see, to take in information. Thank you, eyes. Using this kindly breath as you move down, maybe invite our shoulders just to roll back, open up. Wiggle your arms a little bit, let them free. Before your hands come back to rest in your lap or on your belly or on the floor again. Use your wand of breath, finding any areas of tension, stress. I'm fascinated with them. Are they moving or changing? Is there a color or a shape? What size is it? As you focus on these sensations, notice, do they change? Move? If so, where do they go? No judgments, just notice and breathe. Sitting a moment in this still, calm coolness we've created for ourselves here. Reconnecting our body, mind, spirit as one. Making our bodies, our instruments, hospitable into our spirits, making them a home where we want to stay, where our minds are comfortable and can be at ease. Know this place exists inside of you. Allow your ears and fine senses to start to come back to the room around you, outside of the sound of my voice. and the sound of your own breath. Maybe start to slowly wiggle your fingers. Create a little flow in the frame of your body before very slowly opening your eyes. And bringing yourself back into the room, into the world, present. May you be calm, may you be well, may you be whole, may you be healthy. Let's use these affirmations now as we seal this practice in. Our hands coming to heart center in prayer. I am whole. I am healthy. I am well. I am strong. I am capable. I am humble and grateful and open to the experience. The light in my heart bows to the light in yours. Namaste, friends. Yoga is so many things more than just the physical practice. What you just did was yoga, the union of body and mind and spirit as one, in order to free ourselves from the prison or the constraints of the attachments of our own thoughts, our own humanity. So how do we begin when we are so overwhelmed with our humanity? These moments where life is so much, too painful, too overwhelming. When we've given, it feels like everything we have inside of us away. And there's nothing left to tap. Step by step. One thing. Focus on just one thing. I've shared some of my health journey with you as we've gone through these conversations. And over the last decade or better, I've had an onion of health discoveries as I've been going through my different diagnoses of my autoimmune disease and issues. Naming it doesn't help me. Having something to call it doesn't give it any more or less power. The only thing that gave my ship a rudder in the storm was one thing at a time, one thing at a time. If I can only do this one thing right now, what will it be? At the beginning, it was getting dressed every day, which sounds crazy, but actually in today's climate might not be so outlandish. If you don't have anywhere to go, no one's going to see you. Do you need to get changed out of your pajamas? Absolutely. Is it important that you take a shower and take care of yourself? Sure is. Not just for those maybe little eyes and ears that are watching you and paying attention to not just what you say, but what you do. But also for your own eyes and ears and experience. That you matter, that you're important. That we don't get up and do these things every day to serve the small self, to serve the ego. We're serving our higher selves. serving a false god, chasing dreams that aren't meant for you, or living and fulfilling a role you weren't meant to, will get you resentment, suffering, resisting things as they are. But if we can just clear all of that mental mind masturbation away and just take one thing, one drishti, focal point, softened focus. Think of a point in the distance that you're kind of looking at but not really looking at. Maybe when you're having a staring contest and that point where your eyes sort of, everything blurs and goes out of focus. That focused, not focused, soft focus. Using our insight, our third eye, to look inward when all of our tools stopped working. Or maybe you're using the same tool every day, over and over, and you're not getting the results that you used to get anymore. My relaxation tool doesn't work for me anymore. It doesn't work in this climate or environment. What do I do? One thing at a time. But the problem is when we're overwhelmed, we don't know where to start. So I'd like to encourage you to, first of all, keep notepads around. Maybe a notepad by the couch, a notepad in your bedroom, a notepad in the kitchen. They can be scratch pads, post-it notes. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can be paper from the recycling bin that you chop up and staple back together to use, whatever's handy. And keep notepads available to you so that you can jot down ideas or triggers or comforts or just anything that comes to your mind, anything that can help you continue to empty out our mental inbox. We want to make that an actual physical emptying out of the box. Just write it down, get it out of your head, give it a place to live that's not in here where it will swirl and swirl. Having a pad at night and in the morning next to my bed has been one of the biggest helpers for me to continue to work some of my creative thoughts and ideas. I wake up on fire, which my husband loves, by the way, because he's super type A and he likes his mornings nice and quiet. And I wake up on fire and creative and oh my gosh, I got this and let's go existential over here and let's have this very in-depth conversation about this. And that's not his speed at all. So I need a place to put all of that energy to get it out of me. Because if I don't, it will swirl internally and eventually cause discourse if I don't have an exit plan for this internal energy. So I hope that's making sense to you. So whatever that internal energy you've got swirling around inside of you, let's find some exits for that energy. If you love art, if you love music, if what turns you on, movies, whatever you would normally be doing during this time, connecting with your friends, search out the virtual communities and see what might be available to you. Besides getting dressed every day, taking a shower every day, doing those things that will make you feel better, even if it's just for you, I promise. It helps, it makes a difference. I'm speaking from my own personal experience. The internal relationship that we have with ourselves is more important than we give it credit for. And it affects that small voice that we hear inside of our own heads. Constantly comparing and contrasting ourselves, our situations. Give yourself a break from that by taking care of you. Locally here in Michigan, I am in the Metro Detroit area, the Detroit Institute of Arts, the Orchestra Hall, BBAC, the Birmingham Bloomfield Art Collaborative Collective. They are doing kids art kits that you can order. They already have pre-made little ideas that you can order online there if you're a member, or you can join, or I think they're available even if you're not. So go and look for those normal cultural places that you would plug into. Maybe you are already booked to have a concert or to go to an art fair or something like that. Still do those things. Do those things in your home. Connect to those friends that you would talk to. Don't let your fear drive the bus. There's a great book by Mo Willems, and it's called Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus. And it's a kid's book, and I am a big fan of kids' books because they can teach us adults a lot. Some of that plain as the nose on your face sort of lessons that we forget about to keep that beginner's mind. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. Even just for the art, it's fantastic. I wrote a paper about this book in school. It's fantastic. And the message is great. Don't let your fear drive the bus. Who's got a pigeon over there? Crazy bird. No, you're in charge of your thoughts, of your body, of your environment. One thing at a time. What is the one thing you can do today to help? It might be breathing. It might be the breath work. It's this right here today, right now. You did it already. Good for you. Woo-hoo. Schedule more of these. I already went to my own yoga webinar this morning with my Yoga Alliance, and I'm registered for classes about 3 times a week so that I stay connected to my own yoga sangha community, so that I can stay in touch and I am getting nourished and enriched for the things that I need, so that I can feed my soul, so that I can feed others, and so on and so forth. Be good to you. Be good to you. Now, I know yesterday I said we were going to talk about we talked about feed and reflexology, and we would continue into some of that hot and cold water therapy. I'm going to save that for tomorrow because I don't want to just run on and on with our time. So if you're interested or want to get ahead of that, you can check that out, do some free research on cold water therapy. What's really hot right now are these cold water showers, doing some cold water exposure to yourself in the shower, which you can kind of work yourself up to. It sounds absolutely horrifying for any of those of us who live in the north who are just coming out of winter. Cold showers, are you kidding? Like, that's what we turn the water on and let it run for in the morning. But they're invigorating, and it's a really interesting metaphysical event that happens. So I would encourage you to look into it, and we're going to talk about it more tomorrow. Moving on to our reading of the day. We're going to read the Book of the Awakening with Mark Nepo, my oldie but a goodie. And I'm just going to open it and we read randomly. What do we got? Who we are and what we know. To arrive at understanding from being one's true self is called nature. To arrive at one's true self from understanding is called culture. Confucius. It seems like we all learn in 2 ongoing ways. Being who we are helps us to know more about this life, and what we learn helps us be who we are. If we look at how we move through our days, we can see that we are all made of different mixtures of nature and culture. As a boy, I burn my hand on a stove and understand the dangers of heat. When experience is the teacher, I am a child of nature. As a teenager, I listen to others about their failures in love, and this knowing shapes how I try. Here, understanding is the teacher, and in this moment, I am a child of culture. I must confess that encountering these definitions changed how I see myself. For instantly, I realized that though I prided myself on being deeply natural and experiential, I was, in fact, very cultural, mostly a watcher. It has since become clear that the danger for a natural learner is avoiding the need to turn one's experience into understanding. At these times, we become the flighty one who never strings the hurts and joys together into a lesson, the one who repeats everything. The danger for a cultural learner, however, is avoiding the need to turn one's own understanding into experience. At these times, we are the weighty one who considers everything but never acts, the one who never engages anything. Either way, when we falter in applying who we are to what we know, we experience a lapse in being real. This is a chronic condition that I, for one, have experienced often. You feel that? You feel that one? Indeed, as birds fly and molt, as spiders spin and trap, as snakes slither and shed, humans care and know. And the bird can't find much to do with its fallen feathers, as the spider spins and gets stuck in its web, as the snake ignores its already forgotten skin. We are left with our knowledge, intent that it be useful, but the use, it seems, is in the caring. Center yourself, and as you breathe, look over your life and try to discover whether you are more natural or cultural in how you learn. Breathe steadily and ask yourself, who is your primary teacher? Experience or understanding? Note which is your strength and which you could invite more fully into your life. Interesting. That's an interesting and very personal, reflective one. I have said before in this very class that I am I learn by doing. I am an experiential learner, and I believe I agree with Mark that we need both sides, and I do see that we as people sometimes have a problem applying our own experience to our own lives. So we're living on one side and experiencing, and it's like they're almost happening in parallel to each other, and it's like never the two shall meet. So until those two kind of converge, and that's part of that looking within, asking yourself about some of those deeply held beliefs, scratching the surface to see what might be underneath. It's being conscious and not just going through the motions every day, just stuck on repeat, just perpetuating. Proliferate, don't perpetuate. Moving on to our prayer cards and empowering questions. Again, random pulse. And your word is a lamp to my feet and a light unto my path. God's light, our internal light of awareness, your light of salvation. What light shines to light your path? And when you ask for guidance, when you ask for a light, do you accept it or do you reject it? Because it's not the right color, it's not in the right design that you like, it's not the right shape. Or do you accept what God gave you and take it, understanding that lesson is just for you? Don't perpetuate, proliferate. How would I want people to remember me when I'm no longer here? Same bit. Don't perpetuate, proliferate. What kind of legacy do you want to leave? What would you like people to say about you? What do you want to be able to say about yourself in your head when you lay your pillow down at night? I did my best. I lived to my highest self. I didn't give in to my shadow self-saboteur. That's also me, sneaking up in the dark when I'm trying to get my rest. By realizing and recognizing every part of ourselves and accepting that wholly, fully as us, we can then move forward step by step, one thing at a time, just one thing. It might be your breath, it might be this class, it might be your yoga mat, and sitting in a pose or two, slowing everything way, way down. Reassess your toolbox. I asked you to sit and make a list of your triggers. Those would probably come pretty easy to you. The dog barking, the kid making noise, yelling from the other room, yada, yada, yada. The list can go on. Not feeling safe, not feeling protected, feeling out of control. Those are kind of bigger ones. But how about, what are your comforts? It's a little harder. So I'll leave you with that today. Maybe think about a trigger comfort chart of things that you know right now you can do that make you feel better. And just like our sadhana tray, it's putting all of those things in just a one-stop shop for us. So it's easy to come to in moments of feeling overwhelmed and anxious. So, just right, we just pick it up and go. Take what we need and move on. So work on those comfort charts for yourself. Just different things of varying degrees. It can be from just the simple little list, I'm annoyed, I need to take 5 minutes alone to myself in the bathroom or the laundry room or whatever and breathe, to I need to go take a long walk and do a breathing meditation, or listen to some nice hyped music. I want to go dance by myself and have a personal dance party, and just go crazy. You want to get out some drums or some instruments, just whatever is going to really work it out for you. But from one end to the other, from just a little annoyance all the way to just red alert, alarm, emergency. Try to think about some of those comforts that you could give yourself all the way along those curves. And again, keep these little lists everywhere around the house. Keep notebooks and they close shut. But most of the time, kids aren't really super interested in they're not going to read those. Maybe a phone they might be more interested in. But you can kind of tuck these around the house, keep your lists, keep them going. I told you about my baskets. I'm big on those. And then I can stay organized that way. Kind of throw all of my lists or papers into one bin where I can meet with my sadhana tray, or maybe once a week, and go through those during my morning time of reflection, or when I need to rescue myself from myself. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys. We'll see you back here hopefully tomorrow. Be well, be safe, be good to you. Thanks again.